Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So about once or twice a month, I like to make a dessert for Shabbat dinner, which is the Friday evening dinner. And on this particular occasion, I decided to make a skillet apple cake with a lemon glaze that you drizzle over the top. It started off with 2 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon, and then 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground ginger, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of baking powder. And I'm just going to give all of the dry ingredients a stir to mix them all together. And we'll just set that aside for a few minutes while I work on the wet ingredients. Cleaning up my mess as I go. You can see me filling up my wash bowl with some hot soapy water so that I can throw things in there as I use them up and singing while I work. Alright, we're starting off in the mixing bowl with 3 eggs. And I'm going to give those a quick beating with a whisk. Next, I'm going to add in a cup of granulated sugar, and a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. You can use light or dark. Next, we're going to need a 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Now, if that is too much oil for you, you can replace half of it with some plain, unsweetened, unflavored applesauce. That's something that I do from time to time as well. We need 3/4 of a cup of milk, and a teaspoon and a half of vanilla extract. And we'll mix those together. Now I'm going to use 2 apples to make this recipe. One of the apples you can see I'm shredding or grating with my grater here, being careful to go just to the core of the apple without getting into the seeds and not cutting myself on the grater. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix the dry ingredients into the liquid ingredients and just kind of mix those up and try and keep them in the bowl. And then once those are combined, we'll go ahead and add in the shredded apple. Now you can use Gala apples, Granny Smith apples, Honey Crisp, whatever you have on hand really works fine. Now I'm going to take my other apple and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it into thin slices, about 1/4 of an inch thick. And I'm cutting crossways through the apple, so horizontally if the apple was standing up on end. And when you do it this way, you get this very pretty design in the middle of the slice. Now this cake is going to be baked in a 12-inch cast iron skillet. And when I'm doing cakes like this, I do like to line my skillet with some parchment paper. You could just butter it up if you like, just grease it and do it that way, but I find that doing this makes it very easy to get the cake out later on, to put it in a container for storage. Of course, when I'm baking something like cornbread, I don't want to line the skillet because you want to preheat it and get that hot butter so that you get the crispy bottom of your cornbread. But you don't want that for a cake. So I gave the parchment paper just a little bit of a spritz with oil, and then I'm pouring in my apple cake batter. We'll get it all in there. And now I'm going to take those pretty little apple slices and I'm going to carefully arrange them all over the top of the cake batter and into the oven at 325 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes or until it tests done with a toothpick. While it's baking, I'm getting some fresh hot coffee. I'm sticking a wooden skewer into the cake, looking to see if there's batter still on there, and there is, so back into the oven for a few more minutes. The only thing you should see on that wooden skewer is some crumbs, not wet batter. And look at that beautiful cake. Now I'm going to let this cool completely, and then we'll do the glaze. Don't you just love how pretty those little apple slices are? They look like flowers on top of the cake. While the cake was cooling, it was time to do the afternoon chores. The weather has been absolutely beautiful the past few days, and I'm loving how full the creek is and the beautiful little waterfalls, thanks to all that rain we recently got. Now that the chores are done and the cake is cool, I'm mixing up some lemon glaze, 1/3 of a cup of powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and just whisking it all together, and then drizzling it over the top of the cake. You can find the full recipe with a printable version on my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com, where there's over 800 recipes and lots of articles and great content for you to browse. And if you like that recipe, you might also like my pumpkin apple bread that I did a video of a few years ago. I love pumpkin and I love apple, and they're even better when you put them together. I'll put a link to both of these recipes in the video description down below. Thanks for spending time with me here today, friends. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.